We are here with the daughter of Melinda Felder, who went missing in Conway, South Carolina on July 20th, 2006. Can you tell me a little bit about your mom?
She was a stay-at-home mom mostly. It's three of us: my sister Veronica, my brother Elijah, and then there's me. She's originally from Brooklyn, New York, and we lived in Darlington for a little while, and then we relocated to Conway.
Awesome. And can you tell me about her disappearance?
As far as I know, from what my grandma told, because I wasn't around at the time, the day that she went missing, she told my grandma she was going to go meet a friend, and then she never came home. She left walking because she didn't drive. She didn't have a vehicle. She went walking down the road, and my grandma was thinking maybe it's like how she normally does, go missing for a couple days or a couple weeks and come back. But it's been almost 20 years now, and we haven't heard anything from her.
And she was living with your grandma at the time?
My grandmother.
And so she would walk often?
Yeah.
That was her
transportation? Yeah, she walked everywhere she went in Conway.
Did she have somebody that she was going to meet?
She said a friend. I'm not sure what friend it was. Like I said, I wasn't there the day of she went missing. I don't think my grandma at the time thought to go into detail to ask who she went to go meet, but she just was like she was going to meet a friend and she was coming back. And after a couple weeks, my grandma was like, okay, my daughter hasn't returned, so she put out a missing person report on her.
With the missing person report, do you happen to know if she was able to get that report filed the first time she attempted, or did it take several times? Do you know?
From what I believe, it took a couple of times. She had to keep calling, and then eventually, like a couple months later, they were like, okay, she's missing for real. And then they finally put the missing person report out. So June is when the report was actually filed, but she went missing way before the report was actually filed.
Okay. And as far as the investigation, can you tell me a little bit about what has happened during this whole time with the investigation?
Well, to me, absolutely nothing. There was no missing person report put out on her from the Department of Conway Police Department. It doesn't seem like nobody really started doing anything until I got older and decided to look for it myself. And I kept reaching out to Conway Police Department and explaining to them that, my mom's missing. We haven't heard anything. It's been years. And so I guess with me constantly calling and harassing them, they finally started looking for her. I reached out there was a lady from a program called the Broken Link Foundation. They helped me get my mom into the NamUs database. They were the ones that helped me get my DNA submitted into the data just in case there's anything ever to come back. But from Conway Police Department, I haven't really had much help. The sergeant, there's always a sergeant that's over her case, and then after a couple months or a couple of years, it's a new detective over her case, or there's no new information, and I never get any calls. It's always me calling them.
Is there a detective on the case?
There's a new detective over her case. I'm not sure who he is, though. I know we have the last sergeant I talked to that was over her case was Sergeant Watford. And he was the one to tell me that, my mom no longer receives her Social Security. Her Medicaid information hasn't been used in a few years. But as far as the new detective over her, I haven't spoken with them.
Wow. Okay. And has there been any tips or sightings of your mom over the years?
We've had rumors of sightings, but they haven't been confirmed. We've heard that she's been in Myrtle Beach. There were rumors of her to be in New York. There was rumors of her to be in Darlington, South Carolina. But none of it was ever actually confirmed that she was there.
Was it ever investigated to be able to debunk or confirm those?
No.
It's been family that has kind of followed those leads?
It's really me that's following up all the leads. The rumors that's coming is coming from strangers, it's coming from family members, it's coming from friends. So, like the sighting in Myrtle Beach, when I was told she was in Myrtle Beach, I went there, but I didn't see her, didn't know where she could have went at if it was her. So it was never confirmed if she was actually there. And that was maybe about 15 years ago.
Wow. When was the latest tip or sighting that you had gotten?
About 15 years ago.
Really? Wow. Did she have a phone?
She used a pager. I don't remember the number to it. She didn't have a cell phone. You know, it's a while ago.
Yep.
So cell phones weren't too popular back then. So no.
Okay. When she left that day, do you happen to know if she took any belongings with her? Like maybe she would be gone for a while, or if it was just a quick trip?
From what my grandma said, she didn't have anything with her. She left like she would be back that same day.
So she did not have a vehicle? Is that
No.
right? Okay. And her nickname, she had a nickname?
Candy.
Okay, and she preferred to
Called
go
Candy.
by that. Everyone called her that.
Mm.
Okay. And her maiden name?
It's Melinda Jackson. She married my sister and brother's father, so that's where the Felder came from.
Okay. And what's her social security number ever checked to see if it had been used?
We've traced her social security number before, and there was no signs of any arrest or anything from her side.
Okay. Okay. And then before she went missing, I read that someone had come by your grandmother's house.
From what my aunt and my grandmother told me, it was a Hispanic guy. He was very angry when he came by. He was looking for my mom. We're not sure what the situation was. My grandma explained to him that she wasn't there, and before he left, his exact words was, "Don't be surprised if you found her chopped up in a dumpster."
Wow. And then she went missing directly after that.
She went missing like a couple weeks after that.
Right. Okay. And they don't know who she was supposed to be going to see.
Yeah, my grandma doesn't know who she went to go see, and my grandma doesn't know if the guy that came by the house ever found my mom.
Right.
But it was just crazy that he made that threat and she went missing directly after that.
Okay. And she had seizures?
Yeah, she would have seizures, and when she had seizures, it was like she kind of went in a child state mind. She wouldn't remember who she was or where she was at, and it would take her like a couple of hours to come back to normal. So, and then she had a risk of swallowing her tongue when she had seizures. So that was a major thing that played in her going missing too.
Okay, was she on medication for the seizures?
Yeah.
She was. Do you know if she took that medication with her, if it was left?
She probably didn't, because like I said, my grandma said she didn't take anything with her, and if she had a seizure, her seizures was stress and heating, so she would only have to take it that morning up. So she took it that morning. I doubt she took it with her because she had planned on coming back home.
Yeah. Do you know how often she would have seizures?
They were very random because, like I said, they were triggers from being overheated or too stressed out. But the last time that I was around, it was maybe a couple months before I was there that she had last had a seizure. So they would go from, she could go months without having one, or she can go a couple days and have one, or have them back to back. So it all just depends on, the weather or her stress level.
Yeah. Okay. And then she had... she didn't have any tattoos, right?
No, she didn't have any tattoos. She had a split earlobe. From what I can remember, I believe it's the left side. And then she had a piercing in her right side of her nose.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want people to know about your mom?
No, I mean, she's very sweet. She's loving. She's very funny, so she has a great personality. So it's not hard for her to make friends. So if she willingly went missing, I could see her easily, finding someone to take her in, or finding friends to be around, because she makes friends very easily. She's a very friendly person.
Right. Now, do the detectives believe there's any foul play involved?
I think they don't have any clue. They have no clue. They just know that my grandma put a report out, and my grandma constantly went up there harassing them about my mom's case. The last detective that was over her case, he knew nothing about her case. Everything he knew was what I debriefed him on about what I found out. So I don't really think they actually looked. To be honest, I don't think they really investigated her case until I got old enough to start harassing them about the case.
And how old were you when she went missing?
I had been either about 15, 16.
Okay.
Now, I did read something about her possibly being in New York. Was that ever ruled out?
They said they sent someone to the address in New York and there was no signs of her, but I explained to everyone the address that they have in New York is my grandfather's address. She would sometimes go and visit him, and she has a sister that lives in New York that could possibly use that information, but there was actually no sightings of my mom in New York.
Okay. Does she have ties to any other cities, states?
I know she lived in Colombia for a little while. She has frequent Colombia, but we searched Colombia. There was no records of her being in Colombia.
Okay. How was her relationship with her mother?
They were kind of off and on, but for the most part, it was pretty good.
Okay. I know I heard that she had seizures. Did she have any mental health problems?
No.
Okay. The person she was supposed to see that day, has that ever been figured out who it was?
To this day, we have no clue who
Okay.
it was or where she could have been going. We just know she went walking down 9th Avenue in Conway.
Okay. And there was never any surveillance footage ever?
No. I don't think they looked to see if there was any surveillance.
Right. And, before now, has she ever just disappeared for a while?
She had, it's not what she would disappear. She would leave home for like weeks at a time, but she would either call, she would page my grandma because my grandma had a pager. Once my grandma got a house phone, she would always call to let us know, hey, I'm okay, this is where I'm at. You know, she's never fully went without any contact at all.
Now, if your mom was to be watching this, what would you like to say to her?
Mommy, we miss you so much. And we just want to know you're okay. You have grands you never met. And there's so much we have to tell you. Grandma's passed, Grandpa has passed. You've missed so much. And we just want you to come home. It's my mama.
Sorry, that's a rough one. I'm sorry.